Russia is pulling out all the stops to try to get France to not send troops to Ukraine. Just why is Russia so desperate? And are they resorting to some film production that would make even the most D-list movie actor cringe? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is one of the things I tell you guys is that Russia is a master of using propaganda tools that look and feel real, right? It's sort of like the difference between 2 + 2 = 4 and 2 + 2 = 5. They sound almost the same, but the difference is one is grounded in truth and one is just made up BS. But sometimes Russia reveals just how propaganda forward they are. As you can see here, this is from the official Russian Embassy of South Africa Twitter account, which is a super active propaganda arm, but they are saying that near Lipsy Kharkov, the Russian army captured a French mercenary and that the video has gone viral on social media. Now, I want you guys, if you're fans of this channel, you've probably watched a little bit of combat footage, and I want you to tell me how real the vibes of this appear.
Hey, man, where's that?
Okay, have you ever seen a Russian soldier fire from the hip in this conflict at all and fire 2 rounds while standing in the open? Haven't seen that. Usually you're either moving or shooting or both. But in this case, standing in the open firing. You may also note there's a lack of artillery fire, a lack of other gunfire. You notice he also pauses and waits for someone to tell him that filming has started. And you can see in this trench there appears to be 1 soldier, no trash, no weapons, magazines, none of this. You notice someone's thrown their weapon way far to the front. Note the prominently and very clean-looking French flag, but the rest of his uniform appears, well, pretty Russian. Maybe Ukrainian? Oh, and then it cuts out. So, yeah, okay, you may say, Paul, you have a lot of questionable things here, but as the Twitter notes points out, says it's obviously a fake video. The soldier is not wearing a French uniform, he hides his face, and speaks French with a strong Eastern European or Russian accent. Also, why would a French soldier speak French to Russian soldiers? This is all ridiculous. They also say the French flag, also wrong. As you can see, there's the flag of France. They placed it upside down, right? Blue, white, red. This soldier's flag is like vertical or like misoriented. You can see it's been placed like not correctly on the uniform at all. I guess sort of blue, white, red. But remember, let's see if we can find actual French military. Let's see if we can find the French military combat uniform. We'll look at, for example, the French in Mali, right? That's a good illustration. The French forces have been fighting in Mali for several years. And as you can see, French armed forces, they have a curved shield, essentially, on their uniforms. Here's additional French forces in Mali. You can see here, again, they're not wearing a French flag. They're wearing a curved unit that here says France, likely because red, white, and blue are very common patches in a number of military flags. Here's a French Foreign Legionnaire, also with the curved shield. French army in Africa, right? It's fairly obvious that they've really, really, really not even come close to getting the correct patches that represent French armed forces. So a comically fake video. Even the French call them out. They say, colleagues, you've been spreading fake news for some time, and we are now used to this rather undiplomatic practice. However, this one is particularly ridiculous. We suggest your actors work on their accent with some French classes at Alliance Francaise. So this is pretty weird and pretty desperate, if you ask me. We're going to show another instance of just how desperate the Russians are to deter the French from intervening in Ukraine. But first, if you are desperate for more energy, the ability to get through the day, you want to check out some Strike Gum. Strike Gum, guys. This is veteran-owned, made in the USA. It's made by Liquid Core in Denver, right? You can go to the facility. 100 milligrams of alpha GPC in every piece, and best of all, 90 milligrams of caffeine. That's as much as a Red Bull or an Amp Energy in every single piece. So you can get your Strike Gum at strikegum.com. That's where you can get your veteran discounts and your first-time customer discounts. But if you're on Amazon, you can go to Amazon and search for Strike Gum Energy. We just rolled out the 5-pack, so you can get 5 5-piece packs for $25, right? It's a good deal. It's a better deal, especially with shipping, than the individual pack. But if you are someone who's already tried it, or you're already a caffeine gum aficionado, check out the tray. That is the best per unit deal you're going to get. And thanks to everybody that's left us the 5-star reviews on Amazon. You know that those reviews help tell Amazon customers that Strike Gum is the real deal. We use natural caffeine, none of the weird lab encapsulated stuff. We use high quality ingredients made in the USA. We're just the better alternative to the stuff that's made overseas and weird and dehydrated. So thanks again. So let's talk, though, about the other weird tactic Russia's resorting to. You might remember a couple days ago, we talked about the Russian stunt putting French flags over coffins. Now the Russians are calling on the French to surrender, saying don't repeat the mistakes, right? Posters are urging the French military in Ukraine to surrender to Russian forces, and they've been placed in public transit stations around the French embassy in Moscow. Poster showing a depiction of the commander of a French SS division called the Charlemagne Division, Edgar Poud, who was defeated and killed by Soviet troops in 1945. It says, Frenchmen, do not repeat the mistakes of your ancestors. Their fate is well known. And then it says, call Volga 149.200. That is an open frequency used by the Russian forces for surrendering troops, right? And call sign Volga is the code for, hey, I want to surrender. So this, however, is, well, really to me a sign of desperation. If you're the French, you're likely going to be extremely offended by this. And the French, the French military has a pretty stellar combat record in Afghanistan and in Mali, where they really headed up the task force to fight the Islamic State in the Sahel. So to sit there and say, oh, you're a bunch of surrenderers, is pretty disingenuous. And again, Macron has stated that while he won't rule out the possibility of sending troops to the combat zone and Kiev requests assistance, not ruling something out is not the same thing as doing it, right? What's more likely, though, is that Macron might put together a European coalition to send military instructors to Ukraine within weeks or days. Ukraine has expanded their conscription base, but without a good training pipeline to help get those troops trained and proficient and combat ready, Ukraine is going to struggle to get conscripts from from transit them from being civilians to being combat ready troops. So just having instructors teach them the basics is a big deal. And frankly, we know it's a big deal because Russia is pulling out all the stops to try to influence them. Anyway, guys, that's all I had. A huge thank you to all the members of CombatVetNews.com. Thanks to our lieutenant tier members, and a special thanks to our colonel tier members. Could not do this without you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.